Hi, so this is the go live session of the Hidden Vegan course, which is called 30-Day Vegan Home Cook, and it's for anybody wanting to cook better. And we're doing spaghetti bolognese. I was going to do something else, but somebody suggested this, and that's absolutely fine. So let's just get a little bit of light on that. In this pan, I'm going to have boiling water for this pasta. This is a portion of spaghetti. This is 100 grams. Doesn't look very much, but it's plenty, believe you me. And in here we're going to cook some lentils. So I've got some hot water. We're cooking green lentils, pre-lentils. So we're just going to get those on. It's 130 grams of those. This meal will be enough for, well, this sauce will be enough for 4, but I don't want to cook up 4 portions of pasta today, because then that will just go down my throat. So no. We're doing 1 portion of pasta, and we're doing enough of this sauce for 4 people. So let's just get organised. So you want this on a good boil, and we're going to cook the sauce in here. And the reason that we're cooking it in here is because it's a bit higher than a normal frying pan, and it doesn't mean, it means that rather the onion isn't going to dry out. So we're going to be in here, and we're going to be across actually between these two. This is a small ring and this is the big ring. So now I just need to just check that this has gone live actually, because it's hard when you're doing these things on your own. I think that's right. Yes, good. So we've got a pan of water here for pasta. You could put a lid on it, put some salt in there. You could put a lid on it actually, and it'll speed it up and bring it to the boil. But once it's boiling and the pasta's in, the lid's off. That's the rule. We're going to cook these pre-lentils at the same time, and then we're going to get going. We are going to get going with this. There we go. So this is the pan we're going to make our sauce in. So we're going to put a good 2 tablespoons of oil in to warm up in this pan, and in it we're going to put about 250 grams peeled weight of onions. So we're going to get those going. Looks like a little bit more than that actually today for some reason. I think that'll be alright. I'm so used to seeing stuff cooked down actually that it does look quite big. Right, so this pasta pan is up and running, it's boiling. You want a good hard rolling boil. And so the pasta just goes in. I'm spreading it out, and I'm going to watch it and then push it in. These lentils are soon to be boiling. I've used boiling water from the kettle. So let me just turn this up a bit and get this heat. But actually, this whole sauce needs to be cooked quite cool. But I'm very aware of the time, and I just want to make sure I get this done for you. But in the recipe, there should be a link underneath this demo for the recipe online, and I do say throughout it, cook low. So let's just push this in here. Cook on a low heat because it likes it basically. So this pasta will probably take about 10 minutes to cook down. Now, so inside this pan now, what's happening is the pasta's going. I'm going to stick to my friends. But don't let it stick to its friends. Spread it out. Keep the lid off. We're going to use the lid here actually to keep the moisture in this sauce. So I'm just placing this here to protect it from the heat. Those are going, so that's all right. I'm just turning those down a little bit actually. They don't need to be so ferocious. And then you can hear. So we've got a pinch of salt going into these onions, because if that is the case, then they are less likely to burn. Thank you, Nigella Lawson, I think it was, that said that in some book of hers I read once. So we're cooking these down, and we're aiming for these to be translucent. And this bolognese sauce is soy-free, faux meat-free, soy mince-free, all that stuff that comes in packets and sort of possibly made to look like the animal product. It's not where I'm at. This is whole food, and yeah, so that's moving okay now. Now, okay, so you take the animal out, and what do you put in? Well, ideally, you want to put in something that's more tasty than the animal would be. Because with vegan food, we don't want it to just be some sort of replacement for animal products. What we want is for it to be better than. So I'm popping these down, and in here we've got olives. So here they are, Aldi special, the deli. They're in brine, get them in brine. These will become clear, and then capers. So I've got 30 grams of green, 30 grams of black, and 20 grams of capers. And we've got a little bit of brine that soaks off there actually, so I'll just put that in. I'm keeping an eye on everything else that's going on. Separating that out, those are cooking. Okay, so what we want to do is to finely chop these olives together, because these are salty. Now, if you've got people in your family who say, oh, I don't like olives, well, make them even finer. Get them in a food processor so they basically disappear, they won't know they're there. This is your flavour going in here. Find these olives are a little bit junky, to be honest. So yeah, I'm just sort of helping them bed down on the board. But they really do want to be very small pieces. So I'm looking to see, well look, this pasta's cooking up nicely here. It went in about 5 hours, so that's okay. Keep an eye on that. Those are alright. Now with the lentils, you don't want them to be overdone. You want them to be al dente with bites. Al dente with bites. So now we can start moving these olives around in slightly better fashion. But when they're all round and they're not cut, they're quite hard to cut down, like, you know, this rocky motion that you see, you know. So you've got some time to do this. You don't need to rush about like some crazy fool. You've probably been doing that at work all day, you know. You want things to be enjoyable. Certainly cooking should be something to relax into. So yeah, so those are becoming more translucent now, but they're not translucent yet. Those are all on. So let's just finish these off. So just enjoy chopping stuff, maybe enjoy some of the wine that's going to be going in. So yes, if you definitely maybe, I think that was an Oasis album, but yeah, definitely maybe chop these really small if you've got children. But this here is where your umami comes from. This here is the difference between, it's alright, but I'd rather have a meat one, and this is absolutely smashing. Let's have that rather than the meat one, which after all is where I'm coming from. You know, quite a few of my customers have said to me, I just don't care what food's made of, I just want it to taste good. So I thought, that's quite good, isn't it? Because if it just wants to eat things that taste nice, then if they're vegan and they taste nice, they're going to want to eat those. That's all good. So there we go. So, you know, there you go. It's like that. But you could go finer. You could use a food processor if you wanted. So this now is going to go in there. Just checking everything else. You know, live cookery is very different. I do find cookery very relaxing and very sort of, you know, at home quite straightforward a process. But as soon as you go on camera, you start thinking about all sorts of different things. So this now is going to continue to cook down. So that's that. And right, so let's just, so yes, you can probably see I'm going on a journey through my ingredients. That's a good tip for a beginner, I think. And we want to make the most of everything we've got in our cupboards and use lots of ingredients. I'm just grating the garlic in now. Let's just take that off there. Yeah, I'm just grating it in because I just prefer it. Sometimes I slice it. People on the cookery course will know that I slice garlic a lot for texture, but in this, you want it to be quite small. You don't want to be chowing down on lumps of garlic. You don't want to see it, you just want it to be there. So we're putting fresh garlic in, which has got a different flavour, I think, than the garlic powder or granules that I'm also putting in. So there we go. Let's get it off the back, because obviously it all sticks on the back. And that's that. Just keeping an eye on everything. Don't forget. And we'll just stir that in. The flavour's amazing. With this onion, olive, caper, garlic mix. The flavour's amazing and the smell is just lush. So we're putting 3 tablespoons of tomato puree. That's 1, that's 2, that's 3. Okay, so here we go, tablespoon. So just blob him in. Let's move him away. We've dealt with him now. And we're going to cook the tomato puree. That's the secret. Cooking the tomato puree so it goes dark. This whole thing needs to go dark, and at the moment you can see that it isn't dark, is it? And cooking the tomato puree will make it go a darker colour, and that's what we're after. So that now is just really nice, really happy. Okay, so let's just check. So lentils, very easy to overcook. I spent a lifetime overcooking them before I bothered to actually find out what was going on. Those are quite firm still. They're not cooked, but they're getting there. They're not going to kill us if we eat one that's a bit raw. Right, so that's nice there. Now let's see. What else are we getting out? So these are the lentils, just before I forget. These are Asda's best, green lentils. I think the French will call them queen, but you can also get green lentils that are a little bit bigger, a little flatter. Those ones are a little harder to cook actually. They can blow and go to mush quite quickly. Queen lentils hold themselves better. So that's what I needed to show you. I've shown you my olives, that was a spare onion and cakes. Right, so now we're getting ready. Let's just organise ourselves. Now we're getting ready to add the next set of ingredients. All the time, just keep an eye on this mush here. But quite frankly, you can put this on toast. And then, you could put it on toast and then you could get something melting on the top, make a melted cheese. And then you could put it under the grill and that'd be lush. Yes, that's what I would do if I was serving food regularly in a cafe. This is what I'll be doing. I'll be putting this underneath the cheese. Right, that's good, that's good, that's good. Right, I'm watching this pasta a lot because I don't like overcooked pasta. What you can do, we can get... You can throw pasta at a wall, and if you throw it at a wall and it sticks, apparently it's ready. I mean, you don't really need to go to that, but that is probably ready now actually. That is ready, so that's good. So that needs to come out. This is what we call al dente, with bite. And I'm just going to drain that. I'm going to drain that over that pan. So I've just literally done that. Bring it back into play because you can have a look at it, you won't forget it, and also it'll stay warmer if it's in play over a pan. Just give it a minute or two to drain off and then we're going to do something with that. Right, okay, so this is pretty good now. In here I've got the brine from the green olives and the capers. So I just drained off and it's half a tablespoon of each. Don't throw away your brine, and if you live in Kendal and you throw away your brine, can you give your brine to me? I use a lot of brine actually. Italian food, umami flavour. Those lentils are looking quite good now. That's alright. So yeah, I'm putting in my brine. It's a tablespoon of brine. And then I'm putting 125 ml of red wine. This is one from Aldi. It doesn't have to be posh. This is £4 or something. And yes, it's vegan. I'm just just going to mix that round. So I'm just having a look. Right, so that, just mix that in, and then here we're just going to take that, and we're going to put a little bottle of olive oil in that pasta. Personally, I put pepper because I like pepper. I'm just going to mix it round, and that's it. I can't stop myself picking that bit up there. I threw it at the wall. Okay, so this is, let's have a taste. Yeah, I'm just going to put a little bit more water in that actually. I don't know, maybe it's one tip. Is it a kitchen tip to always have a kettle full of hot water nearby? That needs to go on there. Right, so good. So this is really lush now. Let's just show you. That's a really nice rich sauce. It is difficult recording these live sessions without somebody behind the camera actually. I'm not quite sure whether I've got the angle absolutely spot on. Let's just get that back again. That's alright. Good. Okay, so we've got the wine in and we've got the brine, and we're going to put a tablespoon of red wine vinegar. Again, Aldi. You know, people that do the course, they know that I'm not a food snob. I'm sort of the opposite, and I'm here to prove that you can have amazing food from cut price supermarkets, you know, and that's that. Not everybody can afford seasonal organic food, and I think it's very important to prove that actually the skill is recipe writing and good cooking skills. It's not, you know, that's what success is in the kitchen. It's not about being able to afford to go to a higher end supermarket. So, good. That now, so I'm smelling the wine and I'm smelling a bit of vinegar. So that's cooking off. Those things are going, they're disappearing. And then we're putting in a teaspoon of Marmite. You won't taste, I keep turning away from the camera. You won't taste the Marmite. But obviously you need to be aware that it is yeast extract, and not everybody's tummies are good with that. I'm just using a small one to get it out. That's a 1/4 teaspoon, I think. So that's good. Let's just get something to get that off there. That's good. Right, so the Marmite's in. Again, you know, you're seeing layering flavour. You know, you've got to. Otherwise, you've just got some sort of bean thing floating about. It's, you know, it doesn't work. So that now, let's just show you. Looks like that. It's nice and glossy. It's nice and rich. And that's that. And we're getting ready to add the tomatoes. And these products here. Good, that's good, that's good. Right, so can of tomatoes, chopped tomatoes, again, Aldi's best. Then you want to cook the tomatoes down. They will improve with cooking. This whole thing should be finished in about 5 minutes. And if I was in a family setting, I would be cooking quite a lot of this and freezing it. I would probably freeze it without the lentils in, if I'm perfectly honest, because then you can go out any way when you defrost a portion. If you defrost it, if you froze it in batches of, well, 200 grams of sauce per person, for instance, this here, these are litres. That's a litre. So these are from Asda. So if you froze it in sort of up to here, 750, that's enough for 4 people when you've added your pulses. And then if you leave it just neutral, you could become chili or lasagna or anything, couldn't it? But yeah, I mean, you could add the lentils. I'm just going to check those now, actually. Right, they're done. So they've got a bit of bite, but they're finished. So let's get those out. And let's get those drained, obviously, because they've got water in them. We don't want any of that water in this here. Right, so we're putting a teaspoon of oregano in. I just think oregano, as soon as you've got oregano near anything, you're in Italy, rightly or wrongly. Then we need that. It's a quarter of a teaspoon of garlic granules. These are from they're from Aldi as well, actually. I'm going to stir that in. That's all good. Whoops. Let's just move these things away. Move those things there. I'm just tidying up because I just need a little bit more space. Yeah, that's my salad. Good. Let's pop him in there temporarily. Sugar's going in. Now, okay, so sugar, it's our big enemy, isn't it? Well, not really, because it has to go into some things. It's how much sugar you use. And here we're going to use a quarter of a teaspoon, which I know happens to be about that amount. But measure it in, and that's what we need for this. Seem to have developed some sort of weird sound on this cooker. Right, and yes, I'm here in my home kitchen, and I see a lot of stuff on YouTube and social media where all these people are selling their perfect kitchens with their somewhat perfect looking lives, and you know, life isn't perfect, it's hard, isn't it? We all have to work very hard, and I decided to do this in here so you can see a real person cooking real food on a real stove. Do you know? I don't think it should be about whether you can afford, you know, the most expensive kitchen. This piece. Just get that off. There. Right, okay, so that's good. So that needs to just simmer a little bit. And just going to make a little bit of dressing. So we need some salt in dressing. We need some balsamic vinegar. We've got a teaspoon there. Maybe half a tablespoon actually, think about it, half a tablespoon, a couple of teaspoons. And then we've got some olive oil in there, okay. And there we have a dressing. Very easy. You could add sugar to it if you wanted, you know, but I just wanted balsamic, salt and oil. Now you put the salt in the bottom of the container, then you put the vinegar on top and it melts, dilutes. What is the word? Dissolves the salt. And once that's dissolved, you can then just put the oil on top. Now then, when you make this, taste it now, because you need to develop a sense of what's right and wrong. So I think this is right, but you might not. I do think that is right. I think that's absolutely spot on. Right, okay, so we've got our lentils going in. And they need to sit in this sauce for a good 5-10 minutes, actually. The longer the better. So stir, mix, you could put a little lid on. I mean, if you could do this today, to eat it tomorrow, you'd just be laughing because the flavour will only intensify overnight. So this is what it's looking like. So that's good, that's good. Now, a purist would put the pasta into the sauce, mix it round and then serve it in a bowl. No. Not for me. I like things separate, so that's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to separate the pasta and the sauce. This can camera this week looks like it's in a different position. It's somewhat distracting because I do feel like it might not be picking everything up. Right, so pasta's going to go in. Getting that ready. That's going down. So it's 25 minutes in. Going to dress it with a bit of rocket and some fresh basil. You could go crazy. You could make a caper sliced red onion salad. You could toast some pine nuts and put them on the top. I don't like pine nuts. Just get on your palate. Anyway, shut up. I'm going to shut up now, but honestly, I don't like pine nuts. Now then, this does need a bit longer, but I'm not going to say what I said last week, which is just awful, which is, here's one I made earlier, because that's just going to get richer and richer. And actually, if it doesn't, for whatever reason, or you need to speed up, this is your friend. This, gravy browning. Just pop a bit of butter in, and then it goes a much darker colour, because people eat with the eyes, and if it's a bit darker, people think it looks richer. It's weird. Weird but true. So yeah, that needs another sort of 10 minutes on it, I think. There's stuff on my fingers. So here's this pasta. So this was 100 grams. So can you see, it's quite a lot of pasta. So, I mean, I eat loads, but you might want to have a test and see whether your pasta portion is actually 100 grams or whether it's much more normal, 70. You know, these are things that are good to know. I think they're quite empowering when you know that your dry pasta portion, your dried rice portion is 70. Because we sort of go through life in a bit of a fog with food, don't we? We don't know how much things weigh. You know, 400 grams is a good amount of this on that. So you've had half a kilo of food. That's probably about right. So I'm just shredding up this basil. Taking a bit of stuff out of there that's not right. I love basil. Really love basil. Yeah, or you could put walnuts on top. But to be honest, this is so lovely that unadorned is good. So let's just put this in. So yeah, when you serve, you have to be nice and careful. And this is when a regular TV show would come in and show a close-up. So when you serve, hold the spoon and hold the food up. You know, don't go, because then that goes over everywhere, and food is, you know, people try very hard to have food with height because it looks better. It's possibly a bit too high if we're honest with ourselves there, do you? Right, okay, so that's good, and I do like a bit of rocket on top. So that's what we do there. And then put some sliced basil around. Oops. Don't fiddle too much. But it's nice to have a little bit of a fiddle. And then here's a dressing. Taste that. That's good. That olive oil there, that extra virgin, again, Aldi, it's good. It's nice and strong. So, a bit too much there. So dress it. with however much you want, but make some of those leaves shine with little droplets. And then if you want it, you can put pepper. You know what I'm like, I always will. I mean, to be honest, in this pasta, you could stir in nutritious yeast, and it gives us a mild cheesy flavour. I probably wouldn't bother. I think this really is where it's at, and it needs to just be allowed to sing. So this here is a lovely plate of food. On a lovely plate, but a lovely plate of food. This is spaghetti bolognese, without soy, without mince. This is whole food. I believe that this sort of food here is what everyone needs to be eating. I'll just say that straight. If we're all eating food like this, we would all be nice and slim, nice and healthy, and it is as planet friendly really as we can manage. Nothing's ideal, but this is a great plate of food. It's spaghetti bolognese, served on pasta, topped with rocket, homemade dressing and shredded basil. So that is that, and that took half an hour. So that's not too bad. I don't think that's too bad. So that's where we are. I need to put my glasses on now because I might have had some questions, and this is where my questions might be. Maybe. Watch live video. Let's have a look, see if there have been some questions. Here we go. Could you use beans instead? Well, instead of lentils, I think is what you mean. Let me just put this volume off. Beans instead of lentils, absolutely, but which beans? You want stuff to be small because basically you're emulating mince, and mince, you know, cow mince basically, and you're emulating that mince, and that mince goes really small when it's actually properly cooked down. So if you're going to put a bean in, what you're going to do actually on the palette, when the bean goes onto the palette, the bean is going to spread. Beans inside don't taste as much, and it's going to dilute the flavour. That's why I've got a lentil. That's why I've got these compact little things, because they are quite small relative to the amount of sauce, and so they don't wreck the flavour with their size. I think that's probably the right way I can explain that. You know, with the lentils in there, I mean, you could use a red lentil. Again, I'm not sure I would do that. I think these green lentils are absolutely perfect. But yes, if push comes to shove, I'll tell you what would be perfect, and it's the baked bean, isn't it? Is it cannellini beans? Those are the ones that would go best in here, but you'd have to cook those from scratch, because if you got those in a tin, they're too small, they can't hold themselves together, they've lost it by the time they get out of their cans. So if you can cook your own cannellini beans, you just need as small as possible. I have to say, red kidney beans might be all right. They've got a good dark colour. So those are the beans, but if, you know, lentils are your friend, your green lentils, and then they've got the colour which is dark as well. I mean, a butter bean, forget it, you know. So no, I'm going to say that for this you need to go on a green lentil. Yeah, so there are two sorts in the shops. The puy lentil is has a bit more bite, so those I think are the best ones. But you've got those other ones that are a bit sort of bigger. The hardest to cook actually because they blow. But yes, green lentils all the way for that. So I hope that answers that question. Let me just see. Another version could use beans instead of lentils. Could use beans instead. Let's see. Now then, what else do I need to say? So yes, I hope it's clear how to cook the pasta. With some pasta, the stuff that you drain away, that in some recipes is used for the sauce, just so that you know. It's a good thickener, that pasta water. Similarly, you know, this brine is being used here because it's got some flavour and some body to it. If you wanted to put something on the side, I would go with like a bean salad or a bean and walnut salad or something, pine nuts, that sort of thing, if you wanted a side dish. Garlic bread, I couldn't do that in the time I decided today, but garlic bread is always going to go well as a side dish, and I do have a really good method for that actually. So I'm going to do that another time. So that's where I am with this. I've actually had my tea, but I do quite fancy eating it, so it's not good. I'm going to have to give it to one of my housemates, I think. Let's see, have we got any more questions? No. Good, okay, so I think that is me over and out, if that's even a phrase. And thank you for coming, thank you for watching, whoever has dipped in and out, and I'll see you next week. And comments underneath would include anything you want me to cook. Tiramisu obviously has been requested. I need to think about how I would do that. But yes, let me know and I can just do whatever. It's fine. Whatever you want to see, I can do. All right. So thank you. Take care, and I'll see you soon, or speak to you soon, or hopefully see you online.